Good afternoon. It's a beautiful day in Wisconsin. Winter is almost done and spring is almost here. The sap is running in the maple trees, but we're taking a year off and not gathering sap to make maple syrup. Hopefully next year. But it's nice to be outside anyways. I wanted to talk a little bit today about something that comes up often if you're researching undue influence or thought reform or mind control, whatever you want to call it. And that's loaded language. Loaded language is when you take common words or phrases and pile on additional meaning. If you can control the meaning of words for people, you literally control the way they think. Very effective. And all high control groups and authoritarian leaders and religions use loaded language. I want to focus on two examples that apply to Jehovah's Witnesses and ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. The first one is the phrase, the truth. When we talk about something that is true, we're talking about something that is in accordance with reality. But think about how Jehovah's Witnesses use the phrase. When they talk about the truth, they're referring specifically to the doctrine of Jehovah's Witnesses as presented by the Watchtower. Now, they're aware of the regular definition of true, and they believe that everybody knows things that are true. But the truth, the whole truth, that's something that's presented by the Watchtower organization alone, what they call spiritual food from the Watchtower. Their unique interpretation of Scripture and how it paints a picture of everything that's ever happened in the past, everything that's happening now, and everything that'll happen in the future. In addition to that, they often associate the word or the phrase, the truth, with the organization that shares those beliefs. So it refers to doctrine that comes down from the Watchtower and the organization that believes that doctrine. When two Jehovah's Witnesses meet for the first time, you will often hear what? When did you come into the truth? And what they mean by that is, when did you learn Watchtower doctrine and begin associating yourself with the Watchtower organization? Why is this so problematic? Well, there's an excellent YouTube channel called Ask Reality, which I highly recommend. The man who put it together is a former Mormon, and the series on this channel is called My LDS Journey. LDS being the Latter-day Saints, the Church of Jesus Christ and the Latter-day Saints, which is the Mormon church. And in his series, he talks a lot about Jehovah's Witnesses and how analyzing the life of a Jehovah's Witness, the way a Jehovah's Witness thinks, what it's like to leave Jehovah's Witnesses, was really helpful in his process of understanding what happened to him as a Mormon and kind of breaking free from his beliefs. He could recognize the same kind of manipulation in both cases. And he talks about this phrase, the truth, as used by Jehovah's Witnesses. And the way he puts it is, if you are to ask a Jehovah's Witness, what if the Watchtower isn't true? It won't even compute for them, because it's like asking, what if the truth isn't true? It's a nonsensical question. So that's really powerful. If you can get a person to think of their belief system as presented by a group of men as being in accordance with reality in a way that nothing else ever could match, you've made the person shield off the part of their brain that might be inclined to ask the question, is this really true? So, what I'm hoping is that if you are a former Jehovah's Witness and you've not completely abandoned the use of this word, I encourage you to do so. I understand that we might slip up, out of habit, but that's leaving a little seed in your brain that's closing your mind to new ways of thinking And even worse, the implication of calling it the truth, or saying, I left the truth, is that you are now living in the lie. And that's not healthy. That's not a healthy way to think of yourself or of your path. So what I offer to you is that when you left the organization, you were following truth, trying to eliminate lies from your belief system and from your life. And that's commendable. So speak well of yourself. Don't say you left the truth. And don't call that organization or its beliefs the truth. Now, the second example I want to give maybe won't come as readily to mind. Think about how Jehovah's Witnesses refer to themselves. Do they say, I'm a Jehovah's Witness? No. They say, I am one of Jehovah's Witnesses. Why do they say this? What is implied by it? Well, in their mind, it's more correct English to say, I am one of Jehovah's Witnesses. But for it to be correct English, what has to be implied there? What layers of meaning are being smuggled in? First of all, you have to accept that Jehovah, God is understood by Jehovah's Witnesses, exists. Now, this video isn't about criticizing belief in God in general or about atheism. I'm just referring here to the specific understanding that Jehovah's Witnesses have of God. So that's the first assumption. The second assumption that's smuggled in there is that this God has a chosen people that are uniquely his own, and that everybody else on the planet is in the world, they're spiritually lost and spiritual darkness, and that the only way to have God's favor is to be part of this group that he has chosen. That's the second assumption. The third assumption is that you are in that group. So again, three assumptions. God, as Jehovah's Witnesses understand it, exists. That God has a chosen organization, and you just happen to be in that organization. Those are all the things that are implied by saying, I am one of Jehovah's Witnesses. So if you believe all three of those assumptions, you are using correct English. What if you don't believe those things anymore? What if you don't believe in God at all, or the God that you believe in isn't that God? What if you no longer believe that God has a chosen people, and therefore you no longer believe that you are in the one special group that's approved by God? Then it's not correct English to say you're one of Jehovah's Witnesses, or to say you were one of Jehovah's Witnesses, or that your family member is one of Jehovah's Witnesses. No, you were a Jehovah's Witness. You were in the organization known as Jehovah's Witnesses. So to kind of recap, if you have a sister who's a Jehovah's Witness, she's not in the truth. If you have a mother who is in the organization, she is not one of Jehovah's Witnesses. Your family members are in the organization known as Jehovah's Witnesses. But please understand and fully own within yourself that you didn't leave the truth, and you never were one of Jehovah's Witnesses. Thank you for watching.